So I'm curious, how did you break into tech without a non-traditional background?
So what happened was I ended up failing out of college after attending college for 4 years. Then I went to boot camp for 14 weeks where I learned web development. After I got out of boot camp that summer, I started teaching at this program called All-Star Code, where you teach young high school boys of color web development, and that's in the hope that they realize that they have an opportunity in tech despite, maybe coming from a less privileged background or a non-traditional background. What boot camp and teaching people in high school taught me was how can I learn super quickly, and how can I not be scared of the feeling of oh, I don't know this thing and I'm never gonna know it. It's more no, I just have to teach myself about it and then I'll get there eventually. What ended up happening was I applied for an apprenticeship that was specifically for people with non-traditional tech backgrounds. So they were looking for people who were self-taught, people who were coming from a boot camp, people who were looking for a career change. I think the big thing for breaking into tech, if you're not a CS undergrad or you don't have some amazing college performance, is you should look for opportunities that are meant for you. And you can totally apply to job postings that say, hey, this job is for CS undergrads if you have the skill set. But I think apprenticeships are becoming much more common, and apprenticeships usually target people who do have non-traditional tech backgrounds. And from there, you can really show your value, because usually what I find is that people who are given this opportunity with non-traditional tech backgrounds, they love learning and they learn really quickly. And then from there, it's you're not even an apprentice. There's no difference between an apprentice and a full-time employee. And then that's kind of just where your career starts and go off.
So it's a mix of believing it so you can achieve it, but also being open to people learning differently and collaborating differently.
Yeah, for sure. I think also another big thing is to not be afraid to fail. Failing out of college was that's paralyzing, because coming from an Asian family, they're you go to college, for 4 years, you get a degree, you get a job, blah blah blah. Up until I completed boot camp, I was super afraid of failing, and that also led me to be more risk adverse, and I wouldn't try new things. If you're afraid of failure, just trusting that failure is part of the process and not the end of the process.